during that time period that you actually had armor appear from North Vietnam. Once the U.S. pulled out, North Vietnamese, all the armor that they had came out of the woodwork, and they overran South Vietnam. Because the South Vietnamese, on the whole, would not fight.
Okay.
And the same thing basically has happened in Afghanistan. Even though the people that were working with the military and so forth and so on, they had a feeling that maybe they might be able to hold on for a while. Or maybe actually hold on forever. But, hey, like human nature, just like some incidents where you had Afghanistans working with the U.S., and for some reason, well, they actually turned on the U.S. and killed in some instances, which was on the news.
Yeah.
And so when you look at those elements, is it a surprise? To me, no. I didn't expect it to happen in such a short time, but it happened, and yes, I can see it happen. And even though there was a plan for them to pull out in an organized manner, but when you talk about a battlefield is a flood type environment. Everything can go whichever way sideways. Whereas you try to do, what if this happens? What if that happens? But there's always that one element that you don't expect that can happen.
All right, let me ask you this. Would it have been better for them to basically say, okay, look, we're not going to pursue them anymore. They in the mountains, they doing their thing. But we're going to keep a presence here, but we just not going to be pursuing them anymore. Now, they come down the mountains, throwing rocks or whatever then we'll deal with it when they come down. As far as saying, okay, we're going to end the war against them because we're not pursuing them anymore. But we'll keep the presence here because us having a presence here is a win-win for the Afghanistans, and then it's a win-win for us because now we're centrally located in the east.
That can either have a positive effect or we'll say a negative effect, whereas, okay, you want to stay here, we're going to fight you every which way we can. Okay, they say the U.S. military is one of the strongest, if not the strongest, in the world. But that's when you're talking about conventional warfare, force on force in a battlefield. But when you're talking about this is like, initially you're talking about an abstract version of what you might call guerrilla warfare. Whereas in order to be successful, you need to have good, solid intel. Because without intel, you can't tell who's the enemy and who is not the enemy.
I don't know how they tell me anyway over there.
Intel. Because if they're not in that mountain cave and they're down in the civilian populace, it is very extremely difficult to tell who's who.
Because ain't nobody wearing a particular color.
You can have the strongest military in the world, but you are fighting with some in an environment whereas your enemy is in with the daggone populace.
Yeah.
It's a sheep.
What you think about
you can't tell who the sheep is and who is the wolf in sheep's clothing.
You think Kamala ain't staying out of it just
no,
she don't want to get her hands dirty in this one?
It's not about her staying out of it or being dirty. The vice president has certain specific tasks that are assigned to them. This right here is the main man's task that he has accomplished. Now he might tell her, well, I need you to do this in reference to this task, or tell her, continue to go on with your assigned task.
Well, she's in where she's at? She's in Asia, and then she's making a stop in Vietnam.
because that was the pre-designated task that were already scheduled for her.
Okay. Well, I hope the best for I hope whatever happens, because I got a feeling that we're gonna end up going back in maybe a couple of years from now, when because we left a lot of material.